Okay. I cannot tell. It's still showing up vertical on what I'm viewing. Hey y'all, I see some people hopping on. Yeah, it's still showing up vertical. I'm so sorry, y'all. I guess I'm just gonna roll with it. This happened before, and I'll have to do some research and see what I can figure out. And see if I can get it to where I can see your comments, and I have no idea why this is showing up vertical because it is horizontal on my phone. Thank you, Susan. I wish you knew too. Uh, it's just something I'm gonna have to research. This used to not happen. I went live a time or two initially, and the problems that I had back then were more audio related. And for some reason, these last couple times, I got the audio situation fixed, and now I'm having this vertical horizontal issue. So it's kind of a pain in the you know what, but if y'all can just kind of tilt your phone and bear with me, I appreciate it. And I will definitely try to do a little research and see if I can figure this out before the next time. Thank y'all for hopping on with me, though. Happy Saturday. I hope y'all are having a great weekend. I've actually had a pretty good day myself, and I've been looking forward to playing. And I did a little video this morning of a stationery unboxing, and these Midori folders were part of that video. So this is going to be part of the craft with me. I'm going to try to go through the little modification process. They're adhered with a crease on the left margin attached at the bottom. I'm going to try to trim these down. They're like a full-size A4. And so I just really liked the color palette and the designs. I have a black cat named Blackjack, and then I really like these color palettes. Probably would not have gone for this one in and of itself, but they came in packs of 2. But these are Midori brand that I purchased off of Jet Pens, and when I saw them, I immediately thought of the idea of cutting them down to fit with my A5 and B6 planners. So I think I'm going to try a little bit of both. I've got an A5 here just to give you an idea of my inspiration. This is a Hobonichi brand that I purchased, I believe, in the release from last year, but it's kind of the same deal where it's creased on the margin, it's attached at the bottom. Of course, this came in an A5, but it's just like a pocket. And so this is what I currently keep with my Hobonichi Cousin Avec that I do my kind of memory keeping journaling in. And I just either put it in the cover like so, or with these pockets, sometimes I'll tuck it behind like so. But it basically gives me kind of an on-the-go selection of things that I can add in for interest to my journaling. So these are some little cutouts from some packaging from a Nico Neko order, some of the little recent punches that I made from the washi paper book that came in the stationery selection box recently. It was either June or July. And then the majority of these printables came from Courtney Diaz with Little Raven ink. And as I cut them out, I just toss them in this folder, and then I can pull them out as needed for a little deco. So I really like this folder, but I thought it would be a good idea to add a few extras because I have multiple covers notebook covers. Or says the Midori designs are real pretty. Yes, I agree. I like them both. The cat kind of spoke to me just because I own a black cat as our only pet at this time. And then this color palette really spoke to me, and it kind of reminded me, I'm pretty sure what I'm going to do is cut the cats down to A5 size. But for these two in particular, I think I'm going to try to cut them down to B6 because all of these leaves and simple florals remind me of the style that you see a lot with the Archer and Olive products and the designs that the creator of that line puts out. And I'm currently using an Archer and Olive B6 notebook as a bullet journal. So I think I'm going to cut these down to B6 size to have something to put inside that folder. So I've got it right here. I'm currently housing it in a Giglio, a Punto B6. This is the brown matte Croco. This is my first Giglio purchase earlier this year, and I'm really happy with it. But there's a pocket here. This design is very similar to the interior of the Hobonichi covers. So I could either tuck the folder in here, I think, or just loosely leave it, inside this cover, just like I did earlier. Hey, Lisa, glad to have you here. Love the kitty ones. For some inks. Yes, inks are so much fun. I got some samples not too long ago from Venice Pens in Arkansas, and I've been trying to resist the temptation to buy some more inks. There's always another ink out there that you feel like you want or need, for me anyway. But across my desk right now, I'm looking at probably 2, 4, 6, 8, like anywhere between 16 and 20 of the little sample vials that I've ordered. So I finally told myself last time I had an urge to order some ink, I need to work my way through these samples that I already own first before I order any more. But I'm going to go ahead and cut these down first. We'll see how that goes. And I've got a little Fiskars paper cutter here within reach. If the blade is not sharp enough on this one, I have another couple different sizes and styles in my little craft closet nearby, so we may have to switch them out. This blade may or may not work, but I haven't taken the measurements. I thought I would just kind of loosely use what I have as a guide to get the A5 and B6 measurements. So I'm going to say probably a ballpoint pen is going to be needed to mark on this plastic material, either that or a pencil. I think a fountain pen or gel would just kind of bubble up. So let me see what I have here within reach. Okay, I'll use this Pigma Micron here. I'm just going to use the Hobonichi A5. Let's see. I'm curious. Okay, good. It will fit. I was wondering, these large, full-size, like A4 folders have these little index tabs, and I haven't even tried it yet, so I'm not quite sure how this works, but there's little slits. Let's see. Yeah, something like that. You just feed the little tab through the cutouts, and you can write on it to make like index tabs. This is actually a really cool design. I mean, part of me hates to cut it down. I just don't carry a lot of full-size books like this with me very often. But I was wondering if having all of these index tabs here would give me enough room to do what I wanted to do. And it looks like it will. So I'm just gonna trace this out as the A5 example. That ink is going to be wet for just a second, but hopefully it'll dry pretty quickly. What have y'all been up to this weekend? Any cool plans? Everyone's still kind of staying at home for the most part. I was actually planning to go out of town today with my crew. But we were going on a little adventure, kind of a group of us, and out of all of the groups, let's see, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, there were going to be 8 guys and then myself and another woman, so 2 girls, so to speak. And then at the last minute, the girl and one of the guys had to cancel. So I was going to be the only girl with 7 guys. So I just decided last night that they didn't need any estrogen on that trip, and I would just let them have a little guys' day to enjoy themselves. So that's where my hubby and boys are right now. Okay, so I don't know if I can get this all fit in here or not, but this is my little scrapbook paper cutter. And I'm just kind of lining that mark I made up with the edge of the guide here. And say a little prayer that this blade is sharp enough, if you would. I'm about to make the first cut. Let's see how it goes. Okay, it took the top off. I don't know that it cut all the way through the bottom though. So I'm going to make another pass. And I'm just going to kind of double and triple. Sorry, I just bumped my phone with my arm. Okay, here we go. So we made that complete cut. I don't know if these little index tabs could be repurposed or not. They might could, but I normally don't use like little thin tabs like that, so I probably won't use them, reuse them anyway. And then this line we'll use as a guide for the top. Let's see. Let me see if I can catch up on some comments real quick. Just school shopping with my daughter. Nervous about sending her back this coming Monday. I don't blame you, Donna. We've moved back into level 2 lockdown, so that limits the number of people at gatherings and public spaces, so we're all staying home as much as possible. We are in level 2 as well. Or I don't know if that is like a standard thing internationally or what, if we're under the same restrictions, but we're under level 2 right now as well, where a lot of things are open. I don't think everything is still is open yet. A lot of things are open, but we're under 25% capacity restrictions and mask wearing and social distancing and all that jazz. And Susan says Amazon has a dotted bullet journal with 160 GSM dotted paper, 64 pages, hardcover for $6.99, just like Archer and Olive. Wow, that's impressive. 64 pages is a bit thinner than the Archer and Olive, but I'm curious about that paper because that's exactly what she markets hers as, 160 GSM. That's interesting. I'll have to try to check that out. But yeah, talking about school, Donna, I totally understand your concerns. Ours actually started back already. We're in a school district that tends to start early every year anyway because we have so many breaks throughout the year. And so we kept to the same start date as we normally would. It ended up being Wednesday, August the 5th. But I haven't quite made up my mind yet, like how I feel about it. I mean, I'm grateful for what we have here. Part of the reason we moved where we live now 8 years ago was because of the awesome school system that we have. But I definitely do have some concerns. So I'm trying to just be positive and open-minded and, you know, hope that things end up working out. But I'm not 100% happy right now. Okay, so I made the 2 cuts, and then I'm going to just copy what Midori has done on their original. They leave the back with a very light round of the corner, and then the front piece has a heavier rounded corner. I guess that's just to make it easier to pull them, you know, separate them. So I'm going to try to duplicate that with this little crocodile tool. Teachers here are ready to strike rather than go back. Yeah, I can't imagine. I don't know. I tried to introduce her to mild liners as a new highlighter. She told me I was so extra. Oh, has she tried that? Tell her don't knock it until you try it. Mild liners are nice. Okay, I'm making a little mess here, but I'm going to try the 1/4 inch on the back and then the 1/2 inch on the front. So when ours started back, we had a choice. We had an option. We had 2 options. We could either choose to go 100% virtual learning, you know, which is like homeschool, but kind of a modified homeschool. It's not like we would be completely on our own and having to choose our own curriculum and that kind of thing. The school would provide guidance and like upload the curriculum every day to the Google Classroom, but we as parents would be responsible for the kids, you know, doing all the work on a daily basis 100% from home. And if we made that choice, then we were committed to that choice for a 9-week period of time. So there was no going back. You know, you had to commit to at least the first full semester. And then the second option was what they're calling a modified schedule. And we're in phase 2 right now in Louisiana. And so until they're supposed to reassess it like I thought it was every 2 weeks, but we're in phase 2 now throughout the month of August. Our governor announced recently anyway. But anyway, as long as we're still in phase 2, the kids that opt to go on campus, they basically took all of that population, divided it in half. Okay, so you can see there's a little difference in the rounded corners. And it just makes a little pocket. So, I mean, all it does is it puts the little Midori brand label a little off center, but other than that, pretty cool. So, anyway, if we opted to do the virtual learning, we were committed for 9 weeks. If we opted to go on campus, they divided everyone in half, and then we could, depending on what half you were in, they're calling like the red team, the blue team. So all 3 of my kids are on the red team. They go on campus on Mondays and Wednesdays. The blue team goes on campus Tuesdays and Thursdays. And then on the 3 days that you're not on campus, you are responsible for virtual learning at home. And they provided, you know, a Google Chromebook, whatever, to everyone to take home to do their lessons on. So because my husband and I both work, we decided to try the modified option first and see how it went. So this worked out great for the A5, and I just realized that because I'm running my mouth, this was one of the ones I wanted to turn into a B6. I could probably still cut it down smaller, but we'll see. I'm going to go ahead and cut I'm going to go ahead and cut the black cat for the A5 because I definitely did want it to be an A5. So because my husband and I both work, we decided we would try the modified version and just see how it went. And if I end up needing to do something different and stay home, you know, then so be it. But we tried the modified version. Now, granted, they went on Wednesday, May 5th. They went on Monday and Wednesday of last week. So they've only actually been on campus 3 days so far. But what has disappointed me is I didn't realize that on the days they go on campus, they have, I think, 6 to 8 students in a room because the desks have to be so far apart for the social distance guidelines. But there is an adult in the room. But from what I understand, they're being referred to as like facilitators. They're not doing traditional live teaching. So the kids go into their class and they sit at their desk and they pull out their Google Chromebook and put in their little earbuds, and they're basically doing the same exact virtual lesson that the kids who chose 100% virtual are doing at home. And so I didn't realize it was going to be like that. And I know there's a lot involved, so I'm trying, you know, I don't want to complain and be difficult. I'm trying to just see how it goes, but it's not how I expected it. I thought if you opted, you know, to go on campus those 2 days, that you would receive like normal live teaching on those 2 days. And that's, at least from what I understand, that's not the case. So it's been a rough past 2 weeks, and that's why I've really been missing y'all and like making videos and, you know, playing with my journaling and planning stuff. I haven't been able to do that because I've been working full time, and then when I get home at anywhere between 5 or 6, I've been having to help my youngest with his virtual learning assignments, and it's been taking us about 4 hours every night during the week. So if I get home at 6, we're on it till 10 p.m. You know, and I mean, I used to make them go like take their showers and start getting ready for bed at 9. Try to have a 9:30 bedtime, and that's just been out the window. So would they give standard grades or just pass fail? I don't know that. I'm not sure about the grading. All that we've had since we started on the 5th has been assignments that have been due on a daily basis, and we've been, you know, busting our heinies to get them all turned in. But my youngest has his first test through Google Classroom in math that's due by midnight tomorrow night. They didn't post it until Friday, later in the day. So they're out of town, you know, they decided to go to the swimming hole, to the whatever, campground all day today to get out of the house. So they're not, you know, that it wasn't even an option to do his test today. They won't be home until after dark tonight. So tomorrow we'll do his first math test, and I don't know if it's the normal grading scale or if they're doing a pass fail. I have no idea. Okay, so here's another A5, and I really like this little black cat. I'm going to use it for my Hobonichi. I just think it's fun. And so even though I have that other Hobonichi folder, it was getting kind of full. Let's see, where's all this stuff? And I have other stuff I want to cut down and, you know, take with me. But this little folder, this little pocket concept is nice because you can cram a lot of stuff in there, but when you get to about this capacity, it starts being, you know, kind of puffy. So I may have like 2 of these with different items and either tuck them in the folder or have them out here. So love the little cat. Let's make a B6 one. Let's see. 4 hours too much. Hey, friend. Yes, Blackjack. That was why I ordered that, because I saw the little black cat and I said, oh, there's Blackjack. But yes, so since they started on a Wednesday. So that Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, then this previous week, 5 days. So that would be 8 days altogether. I've done, I think there was one night it only took us 3.5 hours. Every other night, it's taken us 4 hours. There was one night where my husband helped instead of me, and it took him 4 hours as well. So that's usually for 3 classes, and it's like it rotates. He may have like a math, science, history, you know, those 3 assignments due, and then the next night it might be ELA, math, science, whatever. It kind of rotates, but on average, we've had to do assignments for about 3 different classes, and it's taken us about 4 hours. Is the leftover piece big enough to make a glue-in pocket for the inside cover? Let's see. Fran, I got these folders from Jet Pens. Somebody commented today that something was out of stock, so I don't know if it's these or not, but you know, if you sign up, they offer that email notification. So if they are out of stock, they might restock. But it was the 2 cat prints and then these 2 kind of modern floral prints. But yeah, this is a Jet Pens order. Let's see. Big enough to make a glue-in pocket for the inside cover. I mean, the part that you cut off the side margin is fairly thin, maybe 2.5 inches. But the top part that you cut off is pretty big. You probably could do, I mean, it's going to be, let's see. You could do something like that if you wanted to have an extra divider in the back. I don't know necessarily what would be the best way to attach that. If it would be glue or stitching or what have you, but you could, I think you could do a small pocket if you wanted to. I don't know, just based on the way I've used the couple that I've already had, I don't know that I would necessarily use that, so I probably won't, but I think you definitely could. You could even do 2 of them if you could figure out just how to attach it the right way. Maybe this Fabrifix that I like to use all the time. Bonds, fabric, lace, leather, trims, and more. I don't know if it's good for plastic or not, but it's an acetone-based glue. It's not a water-based glue, and it's permanent, so something like that might work. Of the journal. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I misunderstood you, Susan. Yes, it would definitely be, yeah, because this is what you have cut off. So it would definitely be big enough to do a pocket. So if you wanted to do a pocket on the inside of the journal itself, yes, that would work. Good idea. Good idea. On that note, I think I'm going to take a sip. Let me reach back here. There we go. Okay. So I'm super happy with my A5, my little kitty. But I want to take this one and bring it down a little to B6 size. And I've got a B6 cover here. This is a Chic Sparrow and a B6 Stylogy. B6 is the size that I use in my Archer and Olive as well, but I don't really use a lot of like printables in my bullet journal. But I could see having a little ephemera folder in here. So I'm just going to use this Stylogy as a guide for the size. Hey, Becca! You made it! I'm always late too, girl. Don't even worry about it. You made it. That's all that matters. And I did put an announcement on IG today with you in mind. I put one on YouTube, and I thought, Becca asked me if I advertise on IG, so I added one there too, and I was hoping you might see it. Okay. Donna has her Chardonnay. There we go. Having a little girls' night. I love it. I decided a while back that it was wine 30. And I'm having a little Malbec. So feel free to fix your cup if you don't have one. If you're going to be with us a little while. If you don't have anywhere to go and you know for sure you're not going to be driving, have a little sippy sip with us. I probably should have made this line on the back instead of the front. I'm going to cut a little inside. Okay, so let's try this again. Cut it down to A5 at first, just not paying attention, which would have worked fine, but I like this design better for my B6 stuff. Let's see. Just got back from driving my son's car to the airport so he could safely come home from a trip. Haven't been. So you just caught the actual live then. Perfect timing. We left the car so he wouldn't be exposing anyone after being away. Where was he away, like internationally or out of state? Or? And Selma has her old fashioned, so we are having a girls' night. That's awesome. Let's see. What is an old-fashioned, Selma? It's been a while. I did a tiny little bit of bartending when I first started college, but I can't remember what the ingredients are to an old-fashioned. I remember what the glass looks like that it belongs in, the serving glass. Out of state. Okay, well, good. I hope he has a safe trip, Becca. Let's see, what did I do with my... Okay, so we'll do the 1/4 inch on the back. And then the 1/2 inch on the front. And I'm seeing a little ink smearing, but I think I can just wipe that off real quick and it won't be like a permanent... Y'all look away. I'm just licking my thumb here. I guess I shouldn't have said that and no one would have ever known. Okay. So let's see if this turned out to be like B6. A bourbon with sugar, splash of white, and some bitters. Okay. I knew it had like the bitter in it. Good deal. My husband is husband is the bartender. That's funny. Yeah, I make all the drinks at our house. My husband, he knows how to open a beer, but other than that, he doesn't make any drinks. So if I wanted to tuck it into this pocket, I would have to trim it down even further, which, you know, I mean, y'all have seen me do this 2 or 3 times now. It wouldn't take 10 seconds. But honestly, I kind of like the idea of just leaving it, just tossing it either on top or in back and having it loose in here and having that much more space. So I think I'm just going to leave it as is, the same exact size of the book. And it would need to be trimmed a little bit to go in this pocket as well. So front or back pocket of the Chic Sparrow, you would need to trim it a little smaller than the actual book, but I'm just going to leave it the size of the book and just toss it on top. You know, with it being the pocket style, you can't really put it on the string anyway, so I would just toss it on top and go like that. So I'm just happy that this worked, because from what I remember, I can't remember the exact price, but from what I remember, these were fairly inexpensive. And as soon as I saw them, it just reminded me of the Hobonichi folder, and I'm glad it worked out. Let's see. Okay, so I'll probably end up cutting this one down to B6 as well. And then I'm going to do the other kitty cat one as an A5. But since y'all have already seen me do that twice, I'm not going to make you, watch me repeat the same process over and over. I can do that later and it won't take very long. So that'll be all for the modification of the little Midori folders. And then I wanted to move on and kind of swatch out some of the other stuff that was in my little small stationery haul that I did this morning. I did take the plastic off of these Zig clean color dot markers, but beyond that, I haven't even tried them yet myself. So let's see together what they look like. Let's go into the weeklies here. So if y'all caught me at the beginning, you already heard that my hubby and sons went out of town today for a little day trip. And so this morning, just tell y'all how my day unfolded. It ended up being a really productive and fun day, but it was kind of funny how it started out. So I had gone by, my anniversary was yesterday. The day before that was my mother's birthday. So I had gone by my mom's after I got off work to see her for her birthday. And I told her that we were all going to Arkansas this weekend, because at that time I thought we were. So these are the Zig clean color dot markers that I showed in that little stationery haul this morning. These also came from Jet Pens. So she thought that we were all leaving super early this morning, going to Arkansas. So I ended up, obviously deciding to stay home. And then this morning, I was in here doing that little stationery unboxing video, playing around with some of the Archer and Olive markers, just in my office doing my thing. And I had a YouTube video playing. Of course, I'm here by myself, and I heard a voice in my house. And you talk about hair on the back of my neck standing up, like, adrenaline pumping. I'm thinking, oh my God, who's in my house? And I thought, well, maybe I'm just hearing things. So I paused the video, and then I heard a voice again. So I hollered out, hello, didn't hear anything. So I got up and I went to see what was going on. And it was my mother. Because she thought we were all going to be gone today, she thought she would surprise me and clean my house while we were gone. Is that not the sweetest mother ever? She was going to do that, as like she said, I was going to let that be y'all's anniversary present. because I had just kind of vented to her recently about the whole school situation like we talked about earlier. I've been telling her how much time it's taken me, and I said it's just hard during the week to get anything done around the house because I'm, doing schoolwork as soon as I get home from work, and I'm just having a hard time fitting in house cleaning and that kind of stuff. So did you scare No, she scared me. I didn't scare her. I was already saying hello, so when I walked out of my office, she was standing in my living room talking to my dad on the phone, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, well, she's here." So she said, "Well, I may not stay as long now." And she got off the phone with him, and I was like, "What do you mean you may not stay as long? Because I'm here." And she told me what her plan was, and anyway, I thought it was super sweet. We kinda had a little laugh, and so I ended up having a really productive day because, I told her, I said, "If you just wanna stay and visit and go home, I mean, obviously, you don't have to clean my house, but," I said, "if you're going like, if you're going to do it regardless, then I'll do it with you, and we'll knock it out together." And so that's what we ended up doing. I turned on some music, and we both just cleaned at the same time and got quite a bit done, and I told her as she was leaving, I said, "I'm so glad you came because I would have sat right there at that desk and played around and not started on any housework until probably 6 o'clock tonight." So she motivated me to get moving and get some stuff accomplished. So that was what I did today. Okay, so loving these swatches. I'm gonna have to do some lettering and see how it turns out. The marker end, it says it's 0.5 millimeter, and I guess I was thinking because of the way the illustration looks. I don't know if I can get close enough for you. I was thinking it would be more like a marker, a little bit thicker, but it's more like a point 0.5, like you would think of a point 0.5 ink pen. I mean, it's fairly thin. It's almost like a, what do you call that? It's not a felt tip. It's not even a porous point. I can't think of what that's called, but you can see it. It's almost like more of a pen on the end instead of a marker. But the dot part is really cool. And so this was denim. I would have left immediately. I get so spooked. It did. I'm not even going to try to hide that. I think I told her she scared me to death. It did freak me out because I thought I was here alone. And I'm a firm believer in the second agreement, or second amendment, excuse me, but I didn't have my 2A within reach at that time, if you know what I mean. This is Island Coral. Gel. Thank you, Becca. Yes, it's almost like a gel pen. And then this is Summer Sun. I love yellows and golds, and this is like a bright, happy yellow. And then gray, it's called Platinum. So I cannot remember if these come in a set. I think they may come in sets, but for some reason, I don't remember if I didn't care for the color combination in the sets that were offered or if the price was prohibitive. But for whatever reason, I decided to purchase these individually, and they've got several other colors besides these. So you can purchase one, or you can whatever kind of build your own color palette like this. But I want to say individually, there's something like maybe $2 or $3 a piece, something like that. But those are the colors I chose. So let's see if we can do a little lettering with them. Oh, wrong side. I don't know why I always tend to write Monday. I know a lot of people write the word hello. It's kind of their go-to lettering word. I usually swatch out Monday, I guess because I do write the day of the week in my Hobonichi. So I'm kind of putting a little pressure on the downstroke, just like I would if it was a brush pen. That may or may not, but you can see on my downstrokes where I put more pressure, it's still wet. It's going to take a little bit longer to dry. So you make it a little, yeah, you get some line variation. I mean, it's not like a brush pen, but obviously it's not going to be just like a brush pen. But because when you put more pressure, the ink comes out more and gets wetter, you're going to have variation in your color as well. Like your downstrokes are going to be darker. So I think it's pretty cool. I mean, it's definitely a neat option. No, Becca, this is actually my second attempt. I came on the first time and I don't know how many minutes I fiddled with it and could not. This happened for the first time. The last time I went live, totally wasn't thinking about it today, and sure enough, it's happened again, and I'm gonna have to do some research. I have no idea because from my phone that I'm filming from, it is in horizontal mode physically, and it also looks horizontal on my phone. So I have no idea why it's showing up in portrait. If anybody that pops on knows the trick to that, if y'all can leave it in the comments, I would greatly appreciate it. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to just start searching online, see if I can find some answers. But I just decided, I mean, I hate that it is that way, but I was in such a mood to come on and visit with y'all. I thought, well, I'll just do it anyway and apologize and try to figure it out before next time. So I want to wait for the last little part of that word to dry before I turn the page. Something else I was playing with earlier today, I opened another set of the Archer and Olive acrylograph markers. I had ordered 2 different colors when she first released them because she initially ran a sale, and it was something like if you bought 2 sets, you got a third set either 50% off or free, something like that. So the jewel set that I've already done a video on, I ordered it in the smaller 0.7 nib and the 3mm nib. But then for the third kind of sale item, I ordered the tropical set in just the 0.7 or the smaller nib. And it's been sitting in its box since I received it. So I opened that set this morning, went through that business again where, shake, 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 shake until my right arm was about to fall off, and then swatched them out, and the tropical are all super pretty too. Let's see. I wish I had, okay. I'm just going to put a scrap piece of paper in here so I can turn this page. It's still not quite dry. Okay. So let's close that. And then what was I going to do? I'm losing my mind. Oh, I was going to do some journaling, which I still may, but while I'm talking about it, let's see if we can go ahead and swatch out. I have not swatched the tropical pens yet. I did play around with them a little this morning, so I do know what they look like, but I haven't done a formal swatch. Let me make sure I'm still in frame. Okay. Try to zoom it in for y'all just a hair. Hopefully, since they were all shaken up this morning, I won't have to shake them as much now. The more you use them, the less shaking is required, so that is a good thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. But just like the other sets that I showed before, it comes with a clear blending pen. And then I don't know what I did with it. I was using it just, oh, here it is. It comes with a white. I think every set comes with a white. And then you get your 8 colors of whatever palette you order. So I've already done a video on the Jewel palette. I have not ordered the primary palette yet, but it's, you know, bold primary colors like you would expect. And then this one is the Tropical palette. So these are the ones I just opened this morning. Let's see. And I just keep an envelope or scratch piece of paper nearby before I actually put them down, because sometimes you need to, you know, press them out another time or two, or just kind of see how they're going. And these do not have like those Zig clean color dot markers. They have their own little color names. Like the blue is called Denim. These do not have individual color names. It just has the color on the cap and then a tiny little swatch on the body, so you can tell what color you're choosing. If I had to name this color, I would probably call it Chartreuse. It kind of reminds me of the Robert Oster Chartreuse ink, kind of a greenish yellow. Let's see here. See, when I do a video, an edited video, I cut all this crap out for y'all. So y'all don't have to sit here and watch me do this for so long between each one. But it is what it is. Okay. I'll leave a little space at the top to write what these are. But someone had commented, maybe in that swatch video that I did or somewhere, they were trying to decide on which set to order. Not necessarily the color palette, but they were trying to decide between the 3mm and the 0.7. And what I told her in the comment, but I'll repeat again just in case any of y'all have had that thought as well. I think there's plenty of different things that you can do with both. It's not, you know, I have both sizes in the jewel tone set and I don't regret having both. But if I had to pick one, I would definitely choose the 0.7. And I guess it kind of depends on your personal style. See, sometimes they come out way too thick. I'm sure this is user error. I don't know. But this is when I talked about them having a little bit of a learning curve. This is kind of what I meant. Like, it may be user error, but it's not. They're a little inconsistent for me. Okay, there we go. But I guess it depends on what you're going to be doing with them. But the 0.3 are good for coloring in larger backgrounds. You can do lettering with them also, but it's going to be big, you know, big lettering, like at least 1 inch tall, I would think. Whereas for the smaller ones, about the only thing you can't do with this is a large background. That would be tedious, but you can do thin lines and you can color in. If you were doing something this size, like any of these leaves, little flowers, maybe even one of these cats, like maybe a little bit smaller than that, but you could color in a solid, you know, it would just be time consuming. But like these flowers, all this stuff, if you're going to be doing this size of drawing, then I would go with the 0.7. And the 0.7 is definitely better for lettering, small lettering. Let's see. Make sure I'm not missing any comments. Okay. So that's kind of a, not, well, it's close. It's more of a mustard yellow than the first one, but it's still got a brightness. You know, all these tropical ones have more of a brightness to them. Have you tried the new Tombow ABT alcohol markers? How do they compare to these? Does anyone know?
I've not tried those, Susan. I've not heard of them, but I can look into them. I would just offhand, I could be wrong since I don't know anything about them, but when you say alcohol markers, that would make me think that they are not like these at all, because these are acrylic paint markers. If they're alcohol markers, I'm just assuming they would probably be more comparable to the Copic markers, which I have a handful of those that a friend sent me, and I haven't even used them yet. Shame on me. But the Copic markers are alcohol markers. And the good thing about them, from what I understand, is they blend really beautifully. The thing to be aware about with an alcohol marker, though, is it's going to bleed through on almost every type of paper except the type of paper that's made specifically for alcohol markers. It's kind of like if you think of, a regular Sharpie pen or Sharpie brush pen doesn't bleed through, but a traditional Sharpie marker is going to bleed through almost every paper that's out there. Well, it's because the same, it's like an alcohol base. So I'm just kind of running my mouth, like I say, because I haven't actually tried them yet, but I'm just assuming that's how it's going to be. So they're not going to, an alcohol marker is not as, it's not going to be chalky and opaque like these are, but they blend better. They almost look like a, I don't know, like a really nice watercolor, like almost like a paint. Okay, now see, I was afraid that was going to be too thick. See how that kind of ran dry? If you keep messing with it, it's going to end up being rough and patchy. So if that happens, just leave it as is. Like that first sample was a little streaky, and I'll just come back and do a second layer on those, and it'll look better. You're welcome, Susan. And this is kind of a darker green. Yeah, I'm going to have to come back and do a second layer. Second layer on this one too. Something else I was going to ask y'all for suggestions is last week I ended up finishing my workday in town, which I haven't done and I can't even remember how long it's been. I've been working in very rural areas, kind of outlying areas for a while. But last week I finished up one day in town, and so I went, on my way home, I went and stopped at Barnes and Noble just for a little nostalgia. We used to go there every weekend, my boys and I haven't been in months. So I just stopped in to, kind of see what was what, and they had the, hey Adam, how's it going? They had their little version of the Starbucks cafe open, and the whole store was open. Of course, everyone was wearing masks, but it wasn't very crowded. So I picked up a couple books, and I also ended up picking this little guy up. It's a Livestream pocket size little dot grid. It has the index and then the dotted pages, kind of cream paper, just like the A5 size. And I don't know what possessed me to pick it up. It was just so stinking cute, and I guess just the impulse of, you know, being in the zone, being in the shopping mood. But it's so cute, and I know the paper is good quality, so I need to find a little use for this guy. It's not like I don't have enough journals, so I'm not quite sure yet how to use it. But if y'all have any suggestions, I would appreciate it. What I've been doing in the week or so since I bought it is just picking it up every now and then and looking at it and holding it and thinking how cute it is, and then putting it back down. Need to find something else besides that to do with it. Okay, and then the gray is almost an unusual color in this combo because everything else is so bright. But I'm not complaining because I love light gray. Works really well with neutral palettes. I guess it kind of grounds these brighter colors too. So yeah, it's just going to take a few more uses and a lot more shaking to keep these going. I'll have to do a second layer on this one too, maybe even a third. I just get tired of shaking. Try to shake them all together. 6 and 8. I don't know if this is as effective or not, but I've been trying to group them and hold them securely and just shake them all at one time. Got my bingo wing going. In 37. Okay, let's see. Second layer on this kind of chartreuse. And then the little light green. See, that one might even need another layer. I'll move on from these to some fountain pen inks real quick. And then I may do a tiny little bit of my Hobonichi. I know it's starting to get late. Thank y'all so much. Those of y'all that have hopped on and spent your Saturday night with me. Whew. Becca says I have the pocket-sized journal, not a Livestream though, and I keep my washi swatches in it. Perfect for that. Good idea. Pics on my Instagram. Okay, I will definitely check that out. If you want, Becca, if you want to leave your Instagram in the comments here, so if anybody else that's watching wants to check it out, feel free to do that. I haven't swatched my washi tapes in a long time, but the last time I did, I want to say I just did it in my Hobonichi. I don't have a book just for that, so that's a cute idea. Okay, so granted, after these dry, some of them could even use a little bit of a third coat, but again, I think that's because I just opened them this morning, and it does take a while for this paint to flow. If you didn't catch my earlier video where I swatched out the jewel set, I mentioned there that the paint in these is a little bit thicker than the paint in the Posca paint markers. And so one of the drawbacks to that is it just takes a while. It takes, several uses of shaking just to get that paint flow going more consistently. But one of the positives of the paint being thicker is when you do get it going, it's more opaque and it works better for layering. And so you can get some really good results, I think, from those acrylograph markers. You just have to be patient, I think, getting started with them, or at least that's been my experience so far. So is that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? So that's the 8 colors plus the white. So this is what the tropical color palette looks like, in case you're interested. And then I did some cleaning of my fountain pens today. Cleaned a few and just kind of topped a few off, like refilled a few, couple, with the same ink that was already in them. So these are my current top 5, like, prized pens, so to speak. I do have a few others, at least, that I do really love. This Y Studio Brassing fountain pen is a favorite as well, and I don't see it within reach, but my matte black Pilot Vanishing Point is another favorite. But these are probably the nicest pens in my collection in terms of just materials and, price, etc. So I picked up this little case not too long ago from Galen Leather. It's their little 5-pen case, and I just have a little field notes in here, and I've been keeping these in here in particular, not only so they hopefully won't get damaged because they are my nicer pens, but also in the hopes that I won't lose them. One of my previous favorites was the mustard yellow Pilot Vanishing Point, and it has now been missing for well over a year, maybe almost 2 years now. So that pen, I guess, is gone. I'm bad about losing things, and I didn't want to lose any of these nicer pens, so they're going in the case. So these were some that I smeared that anyway. Good gravy. Okay. These were some of the ones that I inked up today. And my Big Daddy. Let's see, my husband has a friend over to watch the fights. He asked me what I was doing. I'm organizing my stickers while watching this. What fights are they watching? Is it like, what do you call them? Is it UFC? I can't remember what the letters are. Like the cage type fighting, or is it like boxing fights? My husband likes that UFC or whatever it is, and when he starts watching that, I usually have to leave the room. I don't know why. I never cared. No judgment, but I've not ever personally cared for that, but he loves it. So in my Pelican M800, I cleaned this one out today completely and then re-inked it with a different ink And I'm pretty sure I put in this Urban. Hold on. This is the one I don't know how to pronounce. But it's this one. And it's kind of a smoky, light, kind of a coral. So let's see. Oh, no. Okay, wrong pen. X that. I did put that in a pen, though. It must be in my M400. So I could tell on one stroke. I did clean this one today because it had antique copper in it before. But this is Diatramentis Charles Dickens. That's what I put in here. Sorry about that. Diatramentis Charles Dickens, and I'm pretty sure this is the one that is also referred to as cement gray. If I'm wrong, correct me, but I think it's cement gray. But it's kind of it has a green tone to it. I just love this color. This is one of my more recent purchases, and it was influenced by Adventure Denali. She's got some writing samples with it. It's just a really nice neutral if you're looking for something other than black. I know I've said that a million times before, but still true. So this must be the one that I put that Urban ink in, because this was another one that I cleaned completely. So this is my M400. Yeah. And I'll have to look at the label. This is Urban. Oh, good Lord, people. However you pronounce that. I was looking at the bottle sitting beside it. Welcome to the train wreck if you're just tuning in. There we go. But you can see it's a pretty color. But I don't even know how to describe. I was calling it like a smoky light coral, and I guess that's still true, but it almost has like a brownish. I don't know. I really like it. So there's that one. And then my M200. This was the first pen that I purchased from the Pelikan brand. Pelikan, if you're in Germany, from what I understand. But this one has this is the marble barrel, and it just kind of stops in an abrupt line at the bottom. And then you get this like 1/4 inch, almost 1/2 inch ink window. And so I realized it had enough ink still left in it. It's going to need to be changed out soon, but not today. So for a while, it has had Noodler's Apache Sunset in it, which is my favorite shading ink. And these are the only 3 fountain pens that I currently own in this brand. And the M200 is the only stainless steel nib. The 400 and 800 are both gold nibs. And it's so funny that, to me, the 200 almost feels like it should be a gold nib. The other 2 stainless steel. It's weird. This one gives the most line variation, and it's the springiest. It's a really, really nice pen. So, I was thinking it was like the starter pen because it's one of the least expensive in this brand. But to me, I do like these others, but this is a favorite by far. So don't feel like you have to go big in this brand. You may be really happy with just the M200 because this is one of my favorite pens. And I can't remember what the price point is. It may be $2 something, but there are some reputable overseas seller, or overseas for me, but online sellers that have really good sales and pricing on this brand. So sometimes you can find an M200 for around $100 or just barely, above that, like US dollars. And for the result, I think it's well worth that price. This has almost as much line variation as my Vintage Flex fountain pens. I've got a couple Vintage Flex fountain pens, but neither of them are wet noodles or whatever you call it. You still have to put some pressure and you do get some line variation, but nothing just crazy. And to me, that'll be interesting. I don't have them within reach, or I'd do it right now. But I need to make myself a note to do that in a future video, like take the two Vintage Flex fountain pens that I do have and compare them with this M200, because I would not be surprised if you don't get about the same line variation. Isn't that pretty though? I don't know if y'all just love that pen and that ink. I just got the Massachusetts 54th. I love it. Oh, that's good to know, Lisa. I've seen that one, mentioned several times over the years, but I've never had it in a sample or a bottle. So I need to check that out. Okay, Susan, the M800 in the Pelican is an extra fine, and my excuse me, my M200 with that beautiful flex, I believe it's an extra fine as well. It is. It's an extra fine, and it writes almost like a medium, Japanese medium for sure. So these nibs are broader. And then the M400, this is a fine, and it's also, this is not the best writing sample. This pen has a prettier writing sample on Rhodia paper, but I ordered this from the Nibsmith, and he gives you the option when you purchase. You can also send a pen that you already own to him and just pay the fee for nib work. But if you purchase a new pen from him, he gives you the option of having nib work included before he ships the pen to you. So it's not required, but I had a less than, I hate to say negative, but I wasn't completely happy with my M800. I bought the M200 first. Absolutely loved it. So when I ordered the 800, I was thinking, oh my gosh, it's going to be like that much better than the 200. And that was simply not the case. So when I ordered the 400 from the Nibsmith, I opted to have him do some nib work on it before he shipped it to me. And I asked him to tune it and smooth it. And he had a little comment section. And in the comment section, I was in one of my moods, maybe in another Malbec night, who knows. But I typed it in the comment section. You could put details about what you wanted your writing experience to be like. And I told him I wanted my writing experience to be slicker than owl shit. So I just thought that was so funny, and I kept expecting him to respond and either say, LOL or what do you mean? He never responded. And I thought, oh my gosh, does he know what that means? Because he's somewhere way up north, you know. Well, apparently he knew exactly what it meant because it is a very, very wet writer. And that's exactly what I wanted. Aura says, my writing is a bit tiny too, so the wet inks might be more challenging for me anyway. Yeah, the Iroshizuku inks are probably the wettest that I own just as a brand, but I would probably steer away from the Pelican if you have truly tiny writing, because like I say, these two, the top and bottom, are both extra fine. That's the finest, you know, unless you send it off to be ground finer. They're much broader. And then this Mont Blanc. I always laugh when I try to pronounce that properly, like a bibbity bobbity boo is what I feel like I'm saying, just with my little southern accent. But what is it? 145, I believe. It is so smooth. I love this pen. It's butter smooth, but it's not super fine either. This is a medium nib in it. This is Aurora Black. Not being consistent with my writing here, but I already had Aurora Black in it, and this is, may not be the only one, but it's one of the few of this brand that have a converter. Most of these pens, I believe, are piston feel like the Pelican, but this one has a converter, and I could see today that it was only about half full, so I just took my syringe from my Goulet pen kit and just kind of topped it back off with Aurora Black, which was already in it. I love Aurora Black. I do too, Susan. I just recently got a bottle of it. I had always used Noodler's Black in the past, and I was kind of looking for another black ink, and I've seen in the fountain pen groups on Facebook, you'll see kind of fairly frequently people ask, you know, what's everyone's favorite black ink? And Aurora Black has always come up, and everybody just goes on and on about it. So I finally ordered a bottle not too long ago, and I really do like it. And then my Lamy 2000. This is another favorite pen. It's not fancy by any means, but this gold nib is super smooth. So I actually have two of these. I have a medium, which was the first one I bought, and it's kind of like this. It's a gusher. It's so buttery smooth, and I love that pen, but it writes very, very bold. And so I ended up getting it later in an extra fine. And I did the same thing, just kind of topped it off. I've had the same ink in this, and I don't know if this is good or bad. Maybe I shouldn't be doing this. But on the pens that sometimes I like to switch my inks up, but on pens like this, I've had Iroshizuku Shioro in this ever since I bought it. I've never put another ink in it. So from time to time, it has a little ink window, but I mean, it's fairly useless. So from time to time when I'm re-inking things, I'll just like refill it with the same ink, kind of top it back off. So I've never cleaned it out. I just keep refilling it and refilling it with the same ink. So yeah, whew, love the Lamy 2000s. If you're into any of the Facebook or any social media fountain pen groups, to me, it's probably one of the most controversial pens I've ever seen. Most people either absolutely love it or absolutely hate it, and they don't mind telling you why they hate it. But I happen to be one that loves it. No judgment if you don't. To each his own. but I like the simplicity of the design, and I take this to work a lot. But to me, it's more about the nib than what it looks like. These nibs are really, 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 really nice. And it's just like the M200 I was talking about. There's a couple of websites. If you keep your eye out, they'll run sales and you can get this pen. Like this is normally close to the $200 price point or just under it. But some websites run this pen. I paid retail, whatever, for the first one that I bought years ago. But for this one, the extra fine, I don't think I paid much more, if any more than $100 for it, because I got it on one of those great sale deals. It's either endless pens or cult pens, one of the two. So EF. I think it may be Cult Pens that carries a lot of the Pelican line. So I don't know. Anyway. Keep an eye out for those websites though. Extra fine. But my M800, it's writing better now. It, I mentioned I was kind of disappointed in it at first. It was scratchy when I first got it, and I was like, "What the?" For this price point, I was like, "This is ridiculous." And so I just couldn't help but be a little disappointed at first. But the more I've used it, it's not scratchy at all now. I may just end up keeping it. I don't know. Time will tell. It's definitely gotten better with use, but I was so disappointed in it initially that I wanted to just immediately ship it out to the nib smith because I was really happy with the nib work he did on the M400. But he has recently moved and he stopped taking orders for a certain period of time. He was supposed to start back sometime in August, so he may or may not have started back. But I was kind of waiting. I've been waiting a couple months to send this to him. And now that it's starting to write a little smoother, I don't know, kind of on the fence now if I'm going to just send it off to him or just keep it, because whatever little bit of scratchiness was in it at first has resolved itself. But those are my little prize pens that I re-inked today. Let's see. May do a at least partial spread here, and then I'll probably sign off. So I'll do some journaling with the pens later, but none of these inks that I put in them today are waterproof. So I'll have to do my journaling last. Thank you, Becca. Okay. Haven't laid down any watercolor, but I kind of want to play with the new stuff, and that we have a tendency to want to play with the new stuff. I think you might have missed my comment about the tiny journal. Let me go back and see. I saw the one where you said you use yours for washi swatches. And I did comment on that. Did I miss another one? I think that's the only one I see. Yeah, I saw that one because I said if you want to put your Instagram in the comments here so everyone else can check it out too, feel free to do that. And I'll definitely look when I get off this live. I haven't been on Instagram in a while, so I'll definitely get on there tonight and look at what your pocket journal looks like. I don't know, one thought that I had for it would be to use it for morning pages. I already do that in another larger book now. So, I don't know. I hate to leave another book, and not finish it. But one good thing about this being so small, if you did use it for something like morning pages ideally is 3 pages. Well, in something like this, 3 pages would be more like what? 6 to 12 because they're so small. So you would essentially go through these fairly quickly, and I guess to some that would be a con, to some it may be a pro. I always feel a sense of accomplishment, and just it makes me happy when I complete a book. So I don't fret if I go through something like quickly, so to speak. I've got so much stuff going on most of the time, I hardly ever finish anything quickly. So if I were to actually complete a book and be able to store it as, and be able to flip back on a completed, whatever the case may be, I think that would be very rewarding. My January through June Cousin Avec that I recently stored away is one of the few books that I've ever truly completed from start to finish. Just because I always get so, shiny ball syndrome. I always want to try new things, and I love the feel of a big, thick, chunky notebook, but I've tried to stop ordering books like that because those are the ones that I never finish. Like, it feels good in the hand when you've got 400 pages, but when you're trying to fill up 400 pages front to back, it takes some time. I'm just doing a little informal border here with these little zig clean color dots. And then I'm going to go between the dots and use the marker end of the denim blue and just make a little X. Just 'cause. I find the Massachusetts 54th to be quite wet. Okay. I've never tried that, but I could see that, because isn't that a Noodler's? I've got just a few, maybe 3 or 4 Noodlers in my current stash, and I could see that. Like, some of the ones I have tend to be pretty wet. Like that Apache Sunset, it's gorgeous, but it's very wet as well. And then I have the Noodler's Black. I don't know if I would say it's wet so much, but it takes forever to dry. But I think it's because of whatever the properties are with it being a bulletproof waterproof archival ink. It just takes forever to dry. Kind of get lost in doing little stuff like this. It's nice. I'm so behind. I've been trying not to get behind, but like I told you, 4 hours of schoolwork every night. I try to put headings in here that will remind me where I can go back and catch up and journal. But I've got some, see, that was last weekend. I've still got some catching up to do, kind of half and half for the month of August. One in July. Well, yep. So looks like I did pretty well up until I started falling off on July 24th. I've stuck some things in here, but I'm going to have to go back and play catch up. So this is the little cartoon strip that came in my jet pens invoice today. So I will affix it in here. And then I pulled, okay, these little tags came from, bought my husband a nice outfit for our anniversary. And that was yesterday, so I'll put that on there. We'll go ahead and write the days of the week so they can be drying, because I'm just going to keep on with these dots since they're within reach. I almost wrote Monday. This is Friday. Okay, and then Saturday, I think I'll go up the page. Let's see. I've got my little, I've had these 2 pen pouches. This has worked out well. They have like followed me around like a little puppy dog from room to room, from my office to my bedroom, from being with me wherever I'm working, and they're compact enough. I've just been throwing them in my bag. So I've not been taking like a fully stocked journaling bag like I used to, but my work bag, I have 2 separate work bags. One stays in my vehicle. It has all my medical stuff in it, all of my vital sign equipment and PPE and all that kind of stuff. But then I've been taking another bag, a work bag, that I keep in the passenger front seat of my vehicle, and it has all of my work devices that I have to use throughout the day. I've got 3 different tablets that I use, and I've got a Hobonichi Day Free that has nothing but work content that's in there. I keep my bullet journal tucked in there. And so it's kind of like a half and half, like work supply bag. And then lately I've been tossing, because I've been starting to fall behind, I've been tossing my cousin in there just in case. You never know, especially like on days that I do home health. I may think I'm going to have 6 or 7 visits to do, but if somebody doesn't answer the phone, or they tell me you can't come for another hour, or blah, 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 if I end up having any unexpected free time in my day, I've been trying to have something personal in that bag. And these have been great to just toss in that bag just in case I ever have time to work in this during the day. So this little Deld, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. I got this a long time ago. And I've been keeping all of these, what are these? The Zebra Mildliner brush pens, double-ended. These are what I use for hand lettering most of the time. So I've been keeping these in this little pouch. And then this was not intentional at all, but look how cute they coordinate. I recently ordered this Peg and All pouch because I'm a sucker for anything repurposed or antique. And she does such a fantastic job of doing that with fabric. So somewhere around here I had set to the side. What did I do with it? I had a little tag that I wanted to put in my journal that came off of this. And it had I've got a pile of paper over here. I'm going to have to dig for, oh, here it is. Okay. Chrysocolla. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. 1950s dead stock. So this fabric was dead stock from the 1950s. This is called the Scribbler pouch. And what's cool about it, aside from the awesome vintage fabric, is the inside is their normal, very thick canvas. So it's like that thick, sturdy wax canvas that their artist rolls. What are they called? Sindak. That kind of thick canvas is what the pouch is actually made of. And then the thin vintage fabric is like sewn as a layer on top of it. So in this one, I've been keeping a set of the Posca paint pens. So between these two pouches, I'm kind of set for on-the-go artwork in my bag. And then this little Superior Labor natural leather pouch, I've got it stocked for all my bullet journal stuff, and it would also apply to this. But this is like a sketch pencil, a bunch of fine liners, an eraser. So I guess it's 3 pouches and not 2, but they're also slim. They just fit in the side of my bag alongside all my books. So that's been working out super well. So let's put today's date, Saturday. Got some kind of little gnat or something that's in my workspace. Won't be still long enough for me to catch him. Okay, so I'll probably outline that one after it dries, but the Friday is so dark it doesn't need to be outlined. I'm going to go ahead and use the same brush pen to color in the sunshine. I had already recorded the weather last night. I've been meaning to put this in my journal, so I'll probably go ahead and put it in today too, since I mentioned it. And then this just cracked me up because I actually use a local car wash that has the different tiers, whatever, of your wash. And look at this. This was a meme, but I printed it and cut it out. It's David Hasselhoff. And it says, when you get the $7 deluxe car wash instead of the usual $4 standard. Okay. That's going somewhere. Okay. I grabbed my little Tim Holtz tiny attacher whenever I grab my corner rounder for that little craft project. So I've been wanting to use it more here lately. So I'm just going to tiny attach both of those in. Probably do the same here with my little peg and all label. The little label's so cute with their logo and the description of my pouch, but at the same time I want her little handwritten note on there about the fabric. Okay. And this little jet pins. I'll just glue it down under that. See, I always forget which end of this glue stick. Are y'all big readers or podcast listeners? Like, how do you entertain yourself in your downtime? I've gotten on this massive kick lately. I've always liked true crime, but I had read books and listened to podcasts, and then not too long ago, a friend of mine turned me on to documentaries, and down the rabbit hole I went. So I've been listening to all of these documentaries lately. Let's see. I've got this really pretty washi that came in the stationery selection box that I haven't used yet, so we have to use some of it. So I've been listening to or watching whatever documentaries on Netflix and Showtime. If y'all know of any documentaries or podcasts to recommend, like if you're a true crime lover, I would love to hear some recommendations because I've listened to so many lately. It's like I want some new ones to try. That is beautiful. And that backing, I don't know if you noticed, was very easy to peel off. So big winner. So pretty. Okay, so this was my anniversary, so I have to write that. Let's see. I'm going to go in with a Posca paint pen. That won't be as... You don't have to press that hard, but I just like the way, like when I use those brush pens, I usually end up doing the really large lettering. So I find that the Posca paint pens work better when you want to do a somewhat smaller message, like something like this. That's all Posca. And you could do that same thing with the acrylograph. I just haven't because I've had these with me. So let's see. kind of a dark orange, or maybe I'm not, yeah. Just go with some oranges. You have to shake these as well, but just not as much as the acrylographs. Let's see. I'm just going to stick with my little messy just doing a little double line on the left side of each letter. So what I'll probably do here is print a picture. I did a little pic of us earlier today, so I'll probably just print that out and glue it down on this page. Okay. And I'm just going to take this up into the lettering on all the downstrokes and just put some little dots. So I'll just do a little journaling up here with one of those fountain pens, probably the Aurora Black. Just a brief description of the day. Tape in or glue in a pic of the Hubs and me for our Annie. And then today I'll probably do some journaling about how my mom was so sweet to surprise me but scared the crap out of me this morning. We had that combo earlier. Talk about what all we got accomplished today, what the boys are doing today. So I'll probably do a good bit of journaling on this page. Maybe just throw in some more little random doodles like that or a sticker or two, but it'll be easy to fill up this weekend. And then maybe tomorrow I can play a little catch up journaling and go back through my phone and either print some pics or do some written words on these pages that I'm falling behind on. I'm pretty sure this was an older Courtney printable with a stack of books. I just love that. I'm kind of getting back into reading. I have to take breaks from reading from time to time because once I start a book, I cannot put it down. So, you know, if I start a book, then I don't get anything else done. And I already ranted a little earlier about how things have been so crazy busy lately. So it's been a good while since I've read any books, but I did buy 2 last week at Barnes & Noble. So that was around the time that I had the books on my mind. So I guess this is a good stopping point. I think we've kind of covered quite a bit tonight. We did some crafting with modifying the folders, and that turned out really well. If that's something y'all are interested in, A5 and B6 down from A4. And then what all did we do? We swatched some acrylographs and then fountain pens, and then kind of set up some journaling here. But I really appreciate y'all tuning in. I needed this so badly tonight, so I've really enjoyed y'all's company, and I think I'm just going to go ahead and sign off now. So thank y'all so much for watching and joining in. I'll see y'all soon. Have a great rest of your weekend. Bye-bye.